So today I want to talk to you about supply chain management with inside of SAP, and not just how to manage your supply chain, but how to start optimizing that supply chain. So many times organizations that we're working with get hung up on how to move parts and pieces from one place to another. And as industrial manufacturers, we really need to focus on how to optimize some of the things that we're doing besides those just day-to-day activities. A few areas that SAP is focusing on is one is in the forecast accuracy side of things. We want to take the historical data that we have from a manufacturing standpoint, think of our sales history or shipping history, and we want to be able to put that into an engine that spits out what our forecast should look like by product, by location, by product group, or even by customer. And I'm seeing a lot of industrial manufacturers really start to focus on this piece really in two areas. One, driving a more accurate forecast allows you to more accurately plan the rest of the supply chain. If we're over forecasting by 2 or 3%, we're going to be buying and making 2 or 3% more products. The second element is the ability to leverage variant configuration within inside that industrial manufacturing element. When people are selecting different options on their machines, we want to make sure that that's taken into account from a forecast standpoint. These are two huge pieces that SAP is helping drive, again, to get more accurate, to reduce overall supply chain costs, whether that be on parts or whether that be on labor. A second area that we're really seeing a lot of emphasis on is, yes, we want to get an accurate forecast, but we also want to get an accurate supply plan as well. And inventory optimization is a huge key inside of that. We have items that might be high value or high volume, and we don't want to plan those in the same way as other items that might be low value or low volume. So we want to be able to use, again, statistics to be able to understand what types of items we have in what locations and be able to optimize the planning strategies for those. We shouldn't have the same safety stocks or reorder points or min-max levels in multiple different facilities and locations. We want to be able to have that fluctuate based on the supply and demand that's occurring in each one of those facilities. And for my manufacturing clients, this has been a huge driver for them of how they work through that process and make sure they got the right inventory in the right place at the right time. Again, this is a cost reduction piece, but it really pairs well with that first one around the accurate accurate forecast. You want to be able to have the most accurate forecast, but if your supply planning parameters are off, it really doesn't work well together. So you really need to put both of those pieces into place to be able to drive a optimized supply chain. The last piece that we're seeing is not only on the material side, but on the actual capacity side of things as well. I work with a ton of industrial manufacturers that are packing things in different sizes, that have very complex manufacturing sequences and processes, and the ability to optimize based on those characteristics is a huge piece to reduce overall cost. I worked with a recent manufacturer that had color, pack size, and then some governmental complexities that went into their production processes. And they were able to optimize the sequence of those items based on that production schedule, again, reducing their overall cost basis on changeovers, and for them based on cleanout processes that they had to do on their lines themselves. So those are some really key points that we're seeing organizations use to drive and optimize supply chain: the forecast accuracy, the inventory optimization, and that detailed scheduling based on characteristics are really things that SAP and NTT Data are putting to the forefront to be able to bring value for our industrial manufacturing clients. So at NTT Data Business Solutions, we actually have 100 industrial manufacturing clients that are on that latest version of SAP S/4HANA. And we've really been on the forefront of leveraging some of the tools we've talked about, some of the business capabilities we've talked about through that SAP S/4HANA solution. And we look forward to potentially working with your industrial manufacturing company on these topics.